What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new alternate universe what if. Now, I have an announcement to make. Since you could say yesterday doing the broadcast, and y'all was doing asking for what ifs and stuff and putting out what ifs. I'm going to do the what ifs that was in the broadcast. Shout out to the fans and shout out to y'all guys for doing the what ifs. And I promise y'all that I will do five or you could say 4 videos today, so I will give y'all 4 videos of the new what ifs in that broadcast that y'all asked for. And also, shout out to you could say All Good. He's one of my subscribers. He helped me remember all the what ifs and stuff. So shouts out to him. He's the he's the GOAT for helping me remember all the stuff and typing them all down so I won't forget about those what ifs. So we're gonna get this started, and this will be the first what if, and we'll work on the other what ifs. But this is a new one, and this is gonna be what if Deku was, you could say, kidnapped and experimented on, part 1. Now this is going to be kind of a, you could say, kind of an 18 plus, because this will contain blood, gore, and possibly sex, possibly not, but blood and gore and all that. So you have been warned, but ado, let's get started. So how would Deku get experimented on? How would this happen? What will go on? Well, first, we're going to start with Inko, giving birth to Deku. Now, Deku was born weak. We're going to say he has that quality of having a weak body. Now, as Deku is growing, he looks like he's sick constantly. His body looks like so skinny as bones and stuff. And every time he eats, it's just not enough. You could say he's looked like he's dying. Now, this is where Deku been diagnosed with, we're gonna say, with cancer. So now his hair is falling off, and we're gonna say his arm pretty much had to get amputated and stuff because he's just having the worst. Now, this is where Bakugo is feeling bad for Deku. And, Deku wanted to become a hero and all that in his dreams and stuff, but he's dying. Now, this is where, Bakugo is not an a-hole in this. He's trying his best to, not be he doesn't be a bully anymore. He's trying his best, to become a hero. He's becoming a hero for Deku, a better hero for Deku to carry out their dream together, you could say. Now, this is where Deku, you could say, is having his one arm in, at school. And this is where, teacher walks in and says that, what he says? Yeah, he says, I know everybody would care, is everybody getting excited and stuff, except for Deku. Deku was just, looking out the window. Now, this is where, the teacher's saying only Bakugo is going to UA because Deku, he knows he can't cut out to do the hero stuff. His body's too weak. He doesn't have an arm. He only has one arm, and it's just hard for him. Now this is where he's getting up and begins to get going. And Bakugo's trying to walk with him to cheer him up until Deku just says, "Nah, Kashan, I'm good," and begins to walk. Now Deku doesn't take the shortcut at the tunnel. He takes a different way, and this is where he gets kidnapped, you could say. Now as he's getting kidnapped, this is where you could say, we're gonna say the mafia. We're gonna say a couple Russians came to Japan to find a suitable acid to kidnap and experiment on. Now, this is where Deku becomes missing. Now, Inko is already worried and trying to figure out where's her son because he haven't came home for like 20 minutes, and he'll regularly be home by like 10 minutes. And this is where Deku's getting kidnapped and stuff. And, the Russians are talking in Russian. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. Now, this is where he is, weak and frail. And this is where they start injecting him with, drugs and all that stuff. And, Deku begins to struggle and begins to go crazy and stuff. And he begins to, we're going to say, start to bleed from his eyes, and he's screaming in agonizing pain and stuff. Now, as he's screaming and stuff, this is where, he's just go crazy and pass out. Now, Deku begins to lose his mind and stuff due to the drugs and stuff, and they keep injecting him every day and stuff. and hitting him with these powerful drugs and experimenting on him. And this is where, you know, Deku was just, incapacitated, and they got him tied up again. This is where they're, giving him the arm, the metal arm right there. You could say, unique metal arm, and they're just, putting it on him, and they haven't hit him with the drugs, so it's just painful, and he's just, but he's not reacting to it no more, just like screaming or anything. He's just taking the full front of the arm. Now he got a arm. He's just, you could say, in the room sitting down again. And we're gonna say there's other experimented people. I mean, other experiments, like a woman. You could say a little girl. They've been experimented on, and they're pretty wacky and crazy too. Now Deku is, looking at them and asks, like, how did they got here? And the little girl is pretty much saying that she had a sickness that it was incurable, and pretty much she got kicked out her household because she was dying soon until they captured her and was experimenting on her. And then this is where he goes to. We're gonna say this. We're gonna say this other boy, and not this other girl. And he asks how the girl she got here, and she's pretty much saying that she doesn't remember. All she was doing is was just passed out, walking out a club, and she pretty much got captured. Now, this is where Deku is thinking and saying, oh, and they're injecting, and they're experimenting. We're gonna say like in that whole 10, yeah, we're gonna say in that whole 10 months, in the whole that whole, let's make it 9 months. 9 months they was getting experimented on this stuff. Now, this is where, Deku started, feeling the effects. Now, these drugs, we're going to say they're hitting them with chemical X, all that stuff, all those, things that can make give you powers and stuff. Now, this is where Deku realized he can, you could say, summon claws. Not as, you could say he can summon claws from his hands, kind of like Wolverine, in a sense. In his one hand, he can create claws, and he can also start swinging at them and stuff. I mean, make them work. He start thinking maybe he can escape with his claws, with his metal claws. Now I know you're thinking, is he going to be like Wolverine and he's going to have a feeling factor? No, he's going to be more. It's going to be a mixture, you could say. Now Deku is, figuring out his abilities and stuff, and he's realizing that he can see through walls. He has expert vision. He can see through walls and stuff, and he's wondering what the hell's happening to him. Now, as he's doing stuff, he can hear through the walls. He realizes he can see and hear through the walls, and he can understand the Russian language. And this is where the Russians are saying that the experiments are not going well. Like, the experiment is not going well. We're going to have to execute them and blow up this place. Now, this is where Deku is, shocked that they're going to execute them. So Deku, is clenching his fist, and he realized that he just ripped through the ground, crushing the ground, and he's realized he has super strength. Now, this is where Deku tells the two girls that he's going to escape from here. And they're saying how there's no way for him to escape, which is where Deku begins to say that he's going to escape, and he's going to help him escape. Now, I forgot to tell you there's another girl, and she's pregnant, you could say. So, she's just, you could say, sitting down to eat. Now, this is where Deku is saying, alright, is everybody ready? Which they all saying yes. And this is where Deku breaks through the door and, slamming one of the Russians into the wall, sliding them by kicking it. This is where Deku begins to start slashing them with the claws. And stuff. Left and right. Now, this is where he gets shot in the arm. And the bullet just, begins to immediately come out because he has fast moving bullets. And he begins to slice left and right. Now, this is where, more guards are coming in. He's summoned up a wall. he start thinking, and he claps both in his hand and he summoned up a wall. So yes, he has full metal alchemy, you could say. As he closes the wall, he tells the girls to go and begins to start. And they reach to a dead end. This is where Deku breaks the wall and tells them to start running while he holds them off. Now this is what he's. Now this is where he's holding them off and stuff, and the pregnant girl is going, and she's saying thank you, and they begin to go. Now this is where Deku looks around and he sees the explosion or the self-destruct to blow up the building. Now this is where he pressed the button and he begins about to go until he sees a kid. Well, you could say sees a kid, a blind kid, you could say, and the kid is asking for his help. Which this is where Deku says, "Damn," and gets the boy and begins to run. Now, as he's running, this is where he sees a cat and he grabs the cat and begins to start going too. Now, this is where he gets out the building and blows up. Now, this is where Deku's looking around and he sees the girls and he begins to start going. Now, they realize they're in Russia. Like, they start looking around. They say, "What the hell are they in?" They realize they're in Russia, you could say, because we're gonna say one of them was experimented on, has super intelligence, and realize that they're in Russia. Now, this is where they're all together and stuff, including the boy who's on Deku's back, very tired and weak, you could say. And Deku start asking their names and stuff, and this is where they are about to say their names. And this is where they about to say the names. Now, this is where one start to name her. So, the first girl named her says her name, and her name is Kavera. Second one says her name is Jane, the pregnant one. The boy, the girl. She starts. The other girl, the little girl, she calls herself Eve. That's what her mom named her before her mom passed away. And the boy, he is tired a lot, but he says his name is Kane. Now, this is where you could say Deku is looking at the cat and begins to, hold the cat and start to scratch it. You could say it says, "What is your name? Dexter?" Which the cat says meow. It says, "I guess Dexter is." Now, as they're going, they begin to think of how they supposed to get out of Russia. Which this is where, we're gonna say a secret refugee is sneaking out of Russia to go. Sneaking out to try to go to America, go to Japan and stuff. Which Deku thinking that's what he needs to do. Which this is where they needed passports, you could say, to get back. Now, this is where they're thinking, and this is where you could say Eve. Eve. She begins to create stuff, and she starts to create passports. Which Deku says, "How did you do that?" But she says she doesn't know, and she just thought of it. Which Deku says this will work. Now, as they're doing the passports, they begin to get taken off, and this is where we're going to say the Russian guys are looking for, and they hurry up, got on it, went back to Japan. Now, as they're going back to Japan, this is where we're going to say they kind of don't fit outfits, so they all go look for clothes, go to this, you could say, store, and Eve create a couple of dollars, you could say a couple of yens to create the buy outfits, and they all have outfits. Now, Deku would look like this with the jeans and stuff, with the metal arm. Now, he's covering up his thing and begins to say he has to go to his mom. He probably, his mom probably is, worried sick about him, or probably put on a full report. Now, Deku looks like this, but more beefer, more buff because of the drugs and all that, and begins to start going. Now, this is where they're all sticking together because Eve, Kane, and Dexter, and also Jane, they all don't have a home, so they're just following Deku, and he's more like the leader. Now, as they're going, this is where Deku knocks on the door, and Inko looks, and she begins to cry real hard, and runs and hugs her son, saying, "He was missing for about 9 months. Where were you?" Which Deku is uh, explained to his mom that he pretty much got captured and got kidnapped, and pretty much was getting experimented on. And these are the ones who was with me, who was getting experimented on. Now, Kane, he looks up and pretty much says hello, and pretty much go back to sleep because you could say that. And all the rest is saying hi. Now, Inko let them in and pretty much is saying, so it was Russians, which Deku was explaining, yes, and we was at Russia getting experimented on all of this. Now, this is where Inko sees a cat, Dexter, and, Cat Dexter begins to hop on Inko's lap and lays on it, purring and stuff. Now, Deku is saying that he pretty much rescued them, which Inko is proud that her son is, doing already hero's work. But she doesn't know that he blew up the facility and pretty much killed like half of them. But yeah, pretty much Inko is, saying that I should probably call off the report, and also you need to talk to the police officers of what happened to you, which Deku says okay. Now, this is where the police comes in already, saying Russians, and then they begins to say, yeah, we've been hearing a couple of kidnappings of a lot of people getting kidnapped and, getting taken away from Japan, which this is where he says, well, that's good. And this is where all the police officers are saying, well, we can take them if you like, which they're all staying by the side. Deku saying, we don't want to go, we're just going to stay by him. We feel more comfortable with him, which Deku says, yeah, they're going to stay here with me at my house, which Inko agrees upon it too. Now, the police officer is saying, okay, but we will, ask for more questions sometime. Now, this is where Deku and them all sit down and eating, which Jane, the pregnant one, she begins to, look down at her stomach and smile, saying that her baby's almost about to be coming soon, which Deku is saying, so who's the father? Which Jane says that she really doesn't remember. All she remembers is waking, you could say waking up in the lab being tested, so she doesn't know who's the father or not. Now, this is where Deku is saying, I think those bastards, and he's thinking in his head, I think those bastards impregnated her with something. Now, this is where we're going to say the other girl. We're going to say Cassie, yes, Cassie. She begins to read Deku's mind and can, hear what he's saying and saying, did they? Which Deku says, what? And she says, like you said. Which Deku says, I didn't say. Did you? And she says, I think. Now, this is where Deku and then be quiet. Which Jane is saying, think of what? Which Deku says, never mind. Now, this is where Deku is saying he's gonna go to the UA because he wanted to become a hero, professional hero. Which Inko, at first is disagreeing, saying he needs to stay home just in case. Which Deku says he wanted to do it, which Inko says, alright, but if anything happens, make sure to come straight home. Which Deku says, yeah. Now, next day, Deku begins to start heading to the UA, and we're gonna say Bakugo comes beside him saying, so Deku, you finally back? So Deku, I'm glad that you're safe and stuff. I heard what happened, which Deku says, yeah. Which Bakugo looks at Deku's body, his body's much different. It has more physique, he doesn't look like he's tired or anything, he looks like he's completely charged. Now, this is where Deku is pretty much going. He's going pretty much in the building with Bakugo and sitting down and talking. Now, this is where Bakugo asks Deku, like, is he still is he or is he sure he's okay? He's doing fine. Which Deku is laughing, saying, "Yes, of course I'm fine." Now, with the whole rest of the thing, everything goes with quick ease, and including with the IQ, Deku reached first because, like I said, the experiment, so it did a lot of things to him, and pretty much went crazy. Now, this is where the robot test is happening. As a teacher is explaining, as the person explaining everything, this is where he says, "Are you mark, get set, go?" And Deku begins to, you could say, clap both hands together and begins to conjure Earth and launch itself. Now, this is where he pulls up the claws and begins to slash robots left and right stuff, and he's running, you could say, much faster. You could say 20 times faster and slicing things left and right. Now, this is where he begins to see the robot right behind him, and he begins to, you could say, use laser vision to blast it. Now, he realizing that, he might have more abilities than he should have been practicing, he begins to see what else he can do, and this is where he blows, cool air to freeze robots left and right, which he started thinking, so I got frostbite? Now, this is where he thinks he has enough points and getting enough experience until he hears a girl scream. Now, this is the 0-point robot about to crush a rocket until Deku comes in, and he thinks to himself, can he fly? Now, this is where he begins to jump real high, and he punched through the robot. Now, he didn't realize he's about to fall until he realizes he's right now flying. And he says, so I can fly. That will come in handy just in case. It begins to fly around and punch the robot head off. Now, this is where the 0-point robot is about to crush. 0-point robot is about to crush the rocket until Deku grabs the robot and pretty much pushes it away. Which Deku asks if she's alright, which she gets up and says, yeah. Now, this is where Deku is saying he's gonna go away, and he begins to, you could say, run away real quick. Now, as you could say, the next day comes, Deku gets an invitation saying that he's passed, that interests in him, and he's pretty much smiling, saying, I did it. And this is part 1 of what if Deku was kidnapped and experimented on. Part 1. If you like, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'm Keishan Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.